All right, happy Friday. 5 minutes late. Seems like that. It's not late anymore. This is just the time. Whenever I get the last bolt on, I'm always into doing two things at once. But putting the Dundon exhaust on the GT3 RS. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, got that. Getting this last of my car part bonanza on the cars. I go through these ebbs and flows of crazy car parts, and so I'm getting all them cleaned off the cabinet. E36 will be coming back and getting a bunch of parts put on that, and yeah, that's what's going on.
So this was the thumbnail today.
Why? What does that have to do?
That's I was watching the video that you did yesterday with that new, old chemical that you discovered.
Oh, yeah.
And so this was the expression on your face.
Oh,
so,
it was?
Yeah, so people haven't seen the video yet because it's coming out Sunday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the expression that was, you were just so happy. So Mike took it and ran with it. And
I got it.
some good comments here. People, who was it? Somebody said something about laser tag. Matt Duffy looks like the background of my elementary school photos. That's true. Looks like that's good.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, watch the videos this weekend. That'll make a little more sense. All right, so let's see here. I did bring this out because a couple folks asked about this. This is the latest thing in the store. This is the newest new product.
Yeah.
What is this?
It's
You don't use it much,
yeah.
but Kyle and them use it.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, whatever, McKee's N914. It's a waterless, rinseless wash. Really mainly a rinseless wash product, but it's one of those hybrid products that it's a take on O&R that's a little bit better. So really crappy packaging, really horrible logo and label, but yeah, it's
good product.
Yeah, it's good. So no, what does it say? It says no extra. Or I thought it was kind of funny. Let's see. Keep away from children. Rinseless wash, highly concentrated, regardless of application. No nonsense formula.
Oh, there you go.
Other than scent and color that are nonsense. So I thought that was kind of funny. It does smell good though, but yeah, that's the that's it. That's in the store now. So it replaces O&R, replace it in our wash package as well.
All right, we have a good question here from Fee in the chat. He says, "Hey Matt, my wife left me for asking her to tighten the fittings too often. How do I tighten them now?" That's pretty good.
Yeah, you gotta man up, people. Stop being frickin' babies. If we see another post, I can't get this thing to work. How do you get the fittings off of the hose? Don't be a baby. You can't be using your little short, stubby wrenches. Go buy some real wrenches, and you'll get it off.
All right, there you go. We have 2 pages, almost 2 full pages worth of questions today. People are. I think the humorous thumbnail gets more attention and brings in more questions. That's how that works. So let's see here. Addison wants to know, "Hey Matt, since you're doing a KWS 700 at the Yarn Crib, is that what you're going with over there?
Yeah.
Are you going to get a stainless steel closure fabricated for it? And if so, do you know a guy who can fabricate things like that?"
I don't think so. We'll see though. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good in its current setup. I like the industrial look of it. And we may cut the wires and rewire it a little bit so it looks a little cleaner. But I think I'd like it just industrial looking, and we may need to do something with positioning the hose reel and stuff. So once I see it laid out, we'll have a better footing or better understanding of what it's going to look like.
All right, Anderson wants to know, "Hey Matt, what phone mounts do you recommend?"
None. The only one I sort of liked was a Renline mount in an RS in my GT3, but that one doesn't work anymore, and I realized I don't need a freaking phone mount. So yeah, just put your phone on the seat. That's what I do, and just don't use it when you're driving. So yeah, I'm not a phone mount kind of guy.
All right. I want to get to a couple of our international friends here, including this one from Australia. So M. Porsche G on Instagram. "Good day, Matt and Chris. Marco G from Australia. We know where Matt stands on deer heads, antique collecting, and crypto, but where does he stand on watch collecting/trading world. Keen to hear his colorful view.
I wish I had interest in things like that. I just don't. I've talked about this before. I have an Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean that's a freaking paperweight in my safe just sitting there. And I paid, what did I tell Michelle I paid for it? Whatever that was. 10, 11, 12, 13 grand, something like that. Yeah, I bought it when I hit something in wealth management or something like that, and I bought the watch. And I bought it from the... I instead of buying it, in the open market, I bought it from the Omega dealer, which is apparently not a smart thing to do because you waste a bunch of money doing that. But now that that watch has really no value or very little value, it's worth like $3,000 if on the secondary or something like that. But yeah, I think watches would be cool if that's something you're interested in. But like everything, people watch like a stock, or they watch crypto, or they watch. No pun intended. They watch, jewelry and things like that. Or right now, it's like the sports cards have had a renaissance, right? And it's where they're worth a bunch. I literally threw probably $50,000 away that I had, maybe a little bit more, maybe closer to $100K worth of cards. A lot of the stuff that I had, most of it was worthless because I had early 90s, very late 80s, early 90s, and those cards, they mass-produced them, so they're readily available. But I had a lot of cards that I could have all had certified and valued. But unless you're, a lot of people kind of see that, and they force interest. And then you never really get as interested in it as you would need to in order to make some money. You'd have to get totally immersed in it. And I feel the same pull that everyone has, and you get pulled toward, like you look at Rolexes have had a renaissance that, Rolexes are worth, considerably more. And so you can start playing the game, trying to lock down the new allocations as they come out, and you get a new watch, and you can get kind of hung up in that. But in order for it to work, you've got to really be obsessed with it. And I'm just not. And so it's not, and I don't like wearing a watch. It's uncomfortable to me. I don't, even when I am wearing it, I'm not conditioned to even look at the time. I have nowhere to be, right? So very rarely do I have somewhere to be. I've kind of engineered that in my life now where I don't want to be anywhere. Like every time you come in to get me to do the podcast, I'm freaking angry. Because I'm in the middle of something. I'm like, what do you want? Get out of here.
You don't even know what day it is most of the time.
That's the way to live, And so, so I want to like things like watches. I want to like things like sports cards. I want to like things like trading stocks, but I don't. I want to like buying duplexes and making money on that, but I'm just not interested in it. So I think the requisite for something like watch collecting is you got to really love it. And if you do, then it can be anything can be viable now, especially with the ability to reach. I mean, this guy's from Australia, for gosh sakes. You can reach anybody in the world, and if you can figure out how to make that, hopefully, maybe you'd be better off. Maybe you'd be better off just having hobbies and things, but I just don't do that.
All right. I'm going to get to this question from our friend over in the UK. Don't Skip Pudding on Instagram. Hi, Matt and Chris. Hope Destination OG is headed in the right direction. Any updates there? I think there was a small update.
Wait, well, I wasn't listening. What did you say?
Hey, Matt and Chris. I hope Destination OG is headed in the right direction. Any updates?
Yeah. So I'm supposed to be getting a call to make sure I didn't miss it for the appraiser. It's like so stupid. Just go and appraise it. I'll pay for it. It's a multi-million-dollar house, and they're like, we couldn't get a hold of you. Of course, they didn't try to call, but we couldn't get a hold of you, so we didn't do it. We wanted to make sure that that it's a non-refundable $500 deposit. It's a freaking multi-million-dollar house. Just go and appraise it, you dumbo. Worst case scenario, you're out an hour of your time, for gosh sakes. Let's go. So I'm trying to get an appraisal on this freaking thing. And once I get an appraisal, then I'll use that to negotiate. And I'm adamant that I'm not overpaying for this one. I talk a lot about you pay fair value for things, and you don't nickel and dime people. In this case, I just want to make sure that I don't get into a house, because if it doesn't work, or I don't like it, or it's not using it enough, I don't want to be upside down in a $500,000 in a property and have to try to get out of it, and then I'm the only idiot who was willing to pay what the person was asking, and no one else is. So I want to make sure that plus I'm getting a loan for the darn thing, and so I want to borrow as much as humanly possible, put as little down as possible. And so that's requiring me to play the game a little bit. So luckily the house isn't even on the market, so we can take our time. But yeah, I'm waiting for the appraisal. Once we get the appraisal, then we'll know roughly what it's worth. And then of course we'll get under contract, and then we'll get another appraisal, and that appraisal will be a lot less, and then we'll be screwed. So anyway, that's where I'm at. But yeah, we're working on the website. We're working on the what it's going to look like, and then we'll go from there. But I'm still looking every day for houses up there as well, in case something else pops up that I like, that I want to go up there and see.
All right. And he was our friend. I saw the email from he is in the UK, and he and his wife had a cottage that they rent out.
Yeah, his site was awesome. It was super helpful for me to kind of see how you would do it. Again, I think you pull it off of, you don't put it on these goofy sites with a bunch of regular people. You build your own audience of potential renters, and then you have a better outcome, I think. And we luckily have a rather large pool of people to that may value this.
All right, so there you go. He also had a detailing question here, real quick. His PF22 recently failed with watery foam. I replaced the agitator/filter, which has fixed the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Can I fix the old filter by soaking it in something, or just stick it in the bin?
Yeah, no, I think once they become clogged, then you just toss it
into the bin. For our British friend there.
I mean, you think about, there's friction, there's water running through it, so very likely what happens is it either becomes clogged, or maybe it becomes too porous, and it doesn't function the same again. So that's a consumable. You just toss it.
All right, you have a nice comment here from Peter in the chat. Your shipping is spot on. Ordered on Tuesday, got it today. Sweet, with 3 exclamation points. Excellent.
Yeah, that's going to be the continued goal, is to continue to be able to deliver on what it is I'm promising, right? And if you make that experience, I mean, shoot, Amazon has become, unless you live in like Los Angeles, or you live in Dallas, where there's a distribution center right down the street, even then, I don't know about you, but I don't get anything in 2 days anymore. It takes a week or longer, it seems. And then it's always crappily packaged. And so I think there's an opportunity for companies like ours to do a good job, do the best we can, which is better than they're going to do. And I think that, people will value that if they know that, by and large, their orders from us are going to come, better packaged and get there in, a reasonable time frame.
All right, let's see. Wanted to get to an interesting, humorous question here before we get into some detailing. So this is from Paul Farmer on Facebook. A question from his wife. Hey, Matt and Chris, my wife watched all of Heartland based on your recommendations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She needs a new show. I guess she's not going to rewatch it 4 times like some people. And wanted me to ask those 40-year-old guys you listen to on Fridays what girly/lady series they recommend next.
Yeah, you got to watch Heart of Dixie next. That's a requisite.
If she hasn't watched that would be a good one.
Yeah, you got to watch that.
I enjoyed that more than I thought I would.
There isn't much out there, for us simpletons. I've watched a lot of stuff, but those are the two. And then you just watch Heartland again.
And again.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I do.
From Jeremy Hudson on Facebook, have you considered checking out NV Snow? It seems to be really good. pH-neutral car shampoo that not a lot of people know about.
I think a lot of people know about that stuff, but it's brought over from Australia. I don't know. I don't see the. I haven't had a need for it, but I'll probably try their stuff at some point.
All right, Ricards wants to know, what's your go-to method to hiding wires behind the TV, the speakers, etc.?
Zip ties. I don't like to use Velcro ties. I like to use zip ties and just cut them off as needed. So that's how I manage my wires, using just black zip ties, and use a lot of them, and be willing to cut and recut and reapply, and to figure out what kind of works together. All
right, let's see here. We got a question from Steven on Facebook. Hey, Matt and Chris, I'm considering purchasing aftermarket wheels to replace the cast wheels on my 2017 Corvette. Forged wheels are likely out of my budget. Do you have any opinions about the more affordable flow-formed wheels? Vossen and others have these wheels.
Yeah, I mean, they're not. You're not getting a performance upgrade from doing those kind of wheels generally, but I think a lot of them are great. I mean, that process is superior to just regular casting, but it's I don't think you can really go wrong with it. You're not gaining a lot over your stock wheels, but other than your look, which I think that's what wheels are about. So if they're in the ballpark, pricing, availability, sizing, all of that stuff, that matters more than anything, I think.
We have a suggestion here from Timothy Hansen in the chat. Wind calls the heart is a perfect compliment to Heartland.
Terrible.
You disagree?
I made it through like one half of one season. It was terrible. Everybody says the same thing, but I can't do it. Maybe it gets better. Maybe I didn't do what I tell everybody else to do with Heartland. You got to power through and stick to it. But, man, I couldn't. I think I made it 6 episodes in, and I just couldn't make it. Maybe I need to keep trying.
I haven't seen that one. All right, let's see. We have a super chat here from our friend Spencer up in the Dakotas. So $1.99. He said, hey, Matt, what's the difference between gray, G-R-E-Y, and gray, G-R-A-Y? Just for giggles, have a great Friday.
Yeah, it drives me nuts. I never know which way to choose. It's one of the few things in life where I have a tough time choosing. 1, what suspension mode do you choose? 2, how do you spell gray? 3, should I eat what I'm supposed to eat, or do I eat everything in the house? And I usually choose the latter, which is a bad move.
All right, Peter in the chat echoes the same question I got from a couple other folks here. When will we start selling the new drying aid? Sorry, forgot the name. He's referring to Slipstream here, which a couple folks asked about. We have placed the order. It has not shipped yet.
It's going to be called, wait for it, Obsessed Garage Drying Aid. Yeah. I need some stupid frickin' name.
So there you go. Dustin Mowry also asked that on Facebook. So there you go, Dustin. Hope you heard that. So Dustin says he's getting low on Beadmaker, trying to hold off. It's up to you, but I'd probably buy at least one more thing in Beadmaker, because it won't be in the next couple weeks, I can tell you that. Fee has the same problem as you with gray versus gray, so you're not alone, I guess. Hey, Matt, I need to change my windshield wipers. Is there a brand that you can recommend?
I always go with the OE wiper. So I've chased that when I was younger. I was looking for get some Pia super silicone blades or something. But generally speaking, I find that the OE choice, whatever the manufacturer chose for the blades, were generally suited for the car. So I tend to just stick with that. I'm sure you can probably do better, but that's what I tend to do. It's kind of like an oil filter. I always choose the OE oil filter.
All right, let's see. This may have been answered already. It has not, actually. But are the blue Cobra Jet hoses no longer being carried in exchange for the gray ones? No, that's not the case. We definitely still carry them. We just cannot get them. So
yeah, they're coming.
Yeah, we're getting more.
Lots more. Yeah.
We had 150 come in the door last week, and they went right back out the door. So
yeah, so the gray is just there because I wanted gray in the store anyway, because for some people just the gray color just suits the style. Plus, I'm selling them for every other company anyway, so I might as well have them here myself. The reason why we didn't have them in the beginning is we didn't have the money or the space for them, so we added those. And then, but yeah, the Cobra Jets will be back. And then we're seeing if we can find an even better hose for less cost. So that's what I'm working on. I want to make all of our own hoses. That's our long-term goal.
Yeah, so if you're adamant and you just really want a blue one, it's going to be a little while. You got to wait.
Yeah, we're talking like another month, probably.
But if you don't care and gray might work for you, then we have a lot of those available now. So.
Yeah.
Let's see. Vital Paul says, A for Americans in terms of gray, E for Europeans. Probably some truth to that.
I tend to use E more often, but I am of European descent. Maybe that's why.
I think Canadians use EY. Canadians can chime in about that and let us know. Do you guys happen to have an update on the Cox vacuum hose reels? Still 4 to 6 weeks once ordered? Yes, it's running about at least that long because they're super swamped with all their own issues as well. All right. Peter on Instagram says, hey, Matt, when will the Model S Plaid arrive? What color did you choose?
I chose white, and who knows? I mean, my guess would be next year. We'll see. I mean, the order's in. It says that it's, October or something like that, but I doubt it.
All right, let's see. John is paying attention today with your subtle advertising here. Is Matt wearing the next hat color to be released? I have all the colors that have been released so far, and the hats are great.
Yeah.
That's the July one.
This is the July hat, yeah. I like
and the
it.
shirts just came in yesterday as well for July, so we're going to be ready for July. But yeah, what's that one called? It's got some funny name. Bryce knows. Loden.
Oh.
Loden is the name of that color.
That's fancy.
Yeah. All right, let's see. This is from Mike Bowman on Facebook. Matt and Chris, with regards to the new Cree lights, how do you anticipate the lighting layout will compare versus the original tube lights? In my garage that is under construction, I had the builder install 3 electrical light drops per bay. I'm curious if I need to change that before construction wraps up in a couple months.
No. Well, I don't know. The fixtures I got, the ZR fixtures, put a fantastic light. The problem with almost every garage is unless it'd be really difficult for them to frame out the truss design of the ceiling in most normal garages in order to recess those, and those really need to be recessed. The other option is you do 1x4s instead of 2x4s. But the surface mounting the ZR troffers, I don't think is something we're going to do very often. Now, the quality of the light in my garage is incredible. The next light I want to try is the linear fixtures, the LS style. And so LS is going next door. And my guess is the LS fixture, they make a square one, which is more directional, and they make a rounded one. So picture it's like a 4-inch by 4-inch little square that goes on the ceiling. And it's, they're only 4 inches wide, but if they put a rounded lens on the end of it, then it gets like it's like 200 degrees or 230 degrees of light dispersion. So in other words, picture it will like paint up the wall and leave no shadows, and so I'm guessing those fixtures are going to end up being the standard fixture for the garage. They make them in 4 feet, 8 feet. You can daisy chain them together. You see those a lot in like modern, like new offices, but I cannot explain to you how different, like these lights here from frickin' Home Depot, Sylvania or some garbage, and then the lights out in the in the main bay, they're okay. They're the ones I've been saying that are okay, and then you have these lights. It's like a totally different experience. My garage is the best lit room I've ever been in my entire life. Of any place I've ever been. It's that good. Now, the problem is, when you see the video tonight, the boxes they stick off the ceiling 5.5 inches. We think that maybe they do that for heat and serviceability, but it's freaking stupid. The light is only like 2.5 inches thick, and the box that it goes in to surface mount it is 5.5 inches thick. So you got this giant box on the ceiling. Now, I'm telling you, you walk in my garage and they disappear. Like you're not looking at them anyway. But it's not ideal. So we take a decent looking fixture that we have now in the regular OG lights from Prime Lights, and then you take these Crees, and the light from them is next level quality. There's no shadowing. There's infinite detail. It's not fatiguing, even at 5,000K. And then they're dimmable, to 0 to 10 volt dimmable, and so I'm able to dim them whatever I want, and manage the light output. So I have a lot more light than I need, and so I dim it down probably 20-25% is my normal operating light. So just you want to be patient here if you can. I know if you're building a house it gets kind of tricky, but I think that the LS fixture is probably going to be the one. But I thought the ZR was going to be the one, and the ZR still works, and we can still do it. They're at it's 200 and something bucks a piece, something like that. And they screwed up and sent me the low CRI ones too, and they're that freaking good. So all this nonsense, you can't use CRI unless you're using it from a reliable company. So the difference between a high CRI like 90 plus and 80 plus and Cree, you can take that to the bank. There's going to be a difference between them. I don't know if you can really see it, but every light says they're 90 CRI, which is bullcrap. It's funny. We're putting like this sophisticated lighting solution in my garage, And they keep getting this message from this douche. I don't know what, some New Jersey douche lighting or something like that. And this stupid, the stupid hex lights that everybody has. And he's like this 37th bro who says this is how he's going to get rich, right? Selling his garbage lights. He's like, you need these lights, I'm telling you. And I'm like, no, I don't want those lights. And he's like, he just couldn't understand, so I had to start insulting him. Well, mine. So what you're saying is my 90 CR plus CRI. I said your lights are not 90 plus CRI on the surface of the sun. Forget it. It's not happening. Get out of here.
All right. With regard to the lighting here, someone in the chat asked, how much are these or ballpark cost per fixture?
I have no idea. That's the problem. But they're in the hundreds. They're not that much more expensive than the lights we have now. I think that the linear fixtures are probably like 80, 90, $100 a piece for a 4-foot fixture. And I think that the ZRs are probably like 220 or 250 or something like that. I really don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. There's no price guide. So I have a call with Cree Corporate on the 7th or 8th of July, so in a week and a half or so. And it's so funny, the girl Lauren I've been talking to at Cree Corporate, she's like, so what do you, this is what baffles me. She's like, well, everybody's on vacation. You might be on vacation. I said, are you going to be around? I said, vacation? What are you talking about? There's no such thing as vacation. Whenever you need me, you just tell me. I'm there. I just thought that was kind of funny that she was concerned about my vacation schedule. I mean, I got a cell phone. Plus, I don't do vacation. Michelle will be on vacation then, but I won't be. So, anyway.
All right, another Cree question here. It's good because I'm going on vacation in a couple of weeks.
Forget that, Chris. It's nonsense.
TR. I've got approximately 8-foot ceiling in my garage. Does Cree have a decent solution for recessed lighting?
Yes.
For the entire garage like you used by the cabinets? When we'll be able to order these?
Yes, and I don't know. So
Gotcha.
I'm sorry. I'm trying. But I cannot explain to you how complicated and how difficult this is.
How long
you would think how simple this would be. Hey, this is Matt Mormon. I sell tens of millions of dollars of stuff. I take and I make videos of stuff that you've never made or never thought to make. I'm going to buy it from you at at whatever pricing you're selling to everybody else. I'm not asking for anything for free. All the demo stuff I want to buy it. And all I need is access to some of your product specialists so we can learn as much as possible, and then I'm going to disseminate. I'm going to take all that information and send it out into the world. And they're like, no. I'm like, what? Am I speaking a different language here? There's no, we can't do that. And so what I found out is that I'm buying Cree from distribution. So they ushered me off to some distribution, and I found out the lights I bought for my garage, I got like 9% off. That was like the special deal. So how am I going to buy them to sell them? If I need like 30-40% margin in order to be able to pay to do all this work to teach the world about it. So the whole thing is just so freaking stupid. So I'm working on it. I'm working my face off to try to get it. And then, and then you see what happens. So I buy lights and they're not right. They're the wrong lights. They don't fit well. When there's only one way to find that out, you just do it. Now, maybe it would have been smart to buy one or two, but that's not how I do it.
All right, had a good question here in the chat that brought up some good conversation from Ben Finner. How come every time Matt uses the foam cannon, it is set for point spray and then gets turned into a fan spray? Does it not get put away as a fan? Why does it go back to direct spray? So curious. And other people were wondering the same thing.
I don't know. It's probably when I untwist it and I probably just bump it.
I noticed that too. It always goes straight ahead and you have to adjust it. And someone said, has a really twitchy snout, so I'm sure it's just being bumped when it's being put away.
Yeah, I'm sure I just mess it up every time sometimes it's not point, sometimes it's super wide. But yeah, because it's not, there's no detent, there's no resistance, it's just floats. And so I'm sure when we're taking it off, it probably just does that.
All right, Jay Rose wants to know where I'm going on vacation. We're going to North Carolina for a couple days and Atlanta for a couple days. No place too special this year. Yoshi, Super Chat, $10. We know hex lights are janky, but what about a Batman-style drop ceiling and covering the entire ceiling in light tiles?
Well, I mean, the only problem is I think that the way that works is kind of like an LCD backlight, right? So you have backlights, but then you have a diffuser across the, so your drop ceiling tiles are diffusers. So above that drop ceiling, you have traditional fixtures. The problem with that in the garage, especially in most areas of the South, and I guess really anywhere area, the light's going to attract bugs, and bugs are going to find their way in there, and you're going to have a freaking bug crazy ceiling. I bet you for that darn movie, they had to go and clean that thing out after every scene, get the bugs out of there. So that would be the difficulty. Plus, I think there's something about if you have a really nice fixture that's flush mounted into a ceiling enclosure, whether it's drywall or drop ceiling or something like that. I think that's what it's all about, and that's what I was trying to replicate with these ZRs without cutting the ceiling. And because of the way it's set, the ceiling's set up, and I'm doing the lift, I lost symmetry, and so anyway, this is how I've learned things and figure it out.
All right, All Things Sports by Mike McIntyre ask what many of our Canadian friends are asking. Hey, Matt, just wondering if you could provide an update on the status of Canadian OG.
I wonder if you can update our status and when your dictatorship is going to end so I can frickin' come there. Like, I'm seeing pictures of people shooting Heartland. They're in the middle of a giant field wearing masks. What is going on? You guys are idiots. How do you stand for that crap? I can't go there. I can't go there to start a business because your frickin' place is shut down for no reason whatsoever. It's frickin' nonsense.
All right, John Bartlett asked another good question here. Has Matt had to kick any people off of his rower at the gym yet?
Not yet, no.
Do you have a plaque on it or anything?
Actually, the thing that stinks is my rower, the two rowers I bought, there's a problem with them, like the foot clicks. So I don't even use my own rower. I let somebody else use it. So I just pretend like I'm just such a nice guy that I just grab whatever other row is open. But no, I haven't had to lay the smack down yet, but I'm sure that we will. I'll just let Michelle, who owns the gym, she'll lay it down. I'll just give her the look. They know. They take care of me. I'm their freaking cash cow there, so they can take care of me.
That's funny. Jacob wants to know, when are you taking the E36 to Tommy for FES spec treatment?
Yeah, it's not happening.
No, not going to get titanium.
I don't need it. I've got all mine are good from the dry ice cleaning. So yeah, the car after doing the dry. This was before we knew about dry ice stuff. So yeah, my E36 is beyond FES spec. So he's not getting my car.
C-Mac wants to know, did Matty man up and order a PTS GT3 Touring, or is he going with Python?
Well, I can't go with anything until I get an allocation, and that isn't for a while. So, yeah, we don't have to worry about it at the moment.
There you go. All right, let's see. Daniel Gus has an audio question here. Got a couple of those. Hey there, gang. As much as I would like the SVS sound base for garage audio, my local hi-fi store and buddies suggested the Cambridge Audio AXR85. As far as speakers go, there's lots of letters coming up. ELAC DBR62 or KEFQ350.
No, neither. I don't like either one of those.
What are your thoughts for those that aren't at the Dyne Audio level?
Cambridge is a good option, so I'm choosing NAD, but you have to choose something. Just like in audio, there's so many choices. I've never liked KEF speakers. I never disliked them, but I put those in the category with B&W. They're just well-known high-end speakers, and so they do a really good job. But I like Dyne Audio so much more. And then we're choosing SVS and PSP. I think SVS is probably going to do really well. We'll see. I have to hear them. I have to spend some time with them. Again, ultimately, you have to make a choice. And so I'm making the choice that I want and then imparting that on other people. So, but yeah, Cambridge, from what all the research I've done, is a good DAC, a good digital to analog converter, a good integrated amplifier solution. They've invested a lot in streaming like NAD has.
Oh, we have a couple super chats here. One of which is funny from our buddy Jacob Simpson here. So I asked the Tommy FEA question to you right before. Well, because of the delay, he didn't hear it, and then he super chatted. So I'm not going to ask it again. But thanks for the $5, Jacob. That was nice. He claims he wasted his $5 now. No, it's not a waste. Spencer says, Matt, I use my PF22 daily at my detail shop, and I'm going through the screen/filter once a month. Do you have any plans to sell the screen or tips to last longer? ?
I mean, one tip would be you really need to get some deionization there. You need to get some water. You'd probably be best served. If I owned a detail shop, first thing I would do is I would get I probably wouldn't do RO, but what you really should do is do like a whole facility RO system first. And you have a big tank, get like a big, like 200 gallon or so tank that the RO would fill up. And then I would deionize the RO water, and I'd have really, really clean water. So you do that combination. That's what car washes do. It actually becomes less expensive to pre-treat your DI. And so the combination of the treating, because then you have two systems that are dedicated. One removes the chlorine and the calcium, and then the other would, the DI would remove whatever's remaining of mineral content to make it truly spotless. So what's happening is your water is just not any good, and that's why the filter's clogging up so much. It's probably not the soap; it's likely the water. The hardness of the water is clogging up your filters. I guess we should probably have those. I don't know. I tend to err on the side of just buying a new foam can, and obviously wouldn't want to buy a new one every month. But and again, if you're doing it detailing, you'd probably want a bunch of foam cannons. So, that's what I think you'd aspire to fix your problem would be to get some better water, get some serious water treatment in your facility. And you'd probably want to, have a service do that, because buying and doing it yourself isn't really going to be all that practical at the volume you're going to need in order to do it right.
There are a couple of suggestions here in the chat as well. Jack Sparrow said, are you rinsing the foam cannon out after each use? I run it without the bottle attached after each use to clean out the filter.
That's probably a good idea. I don't ever do that, but I usually don't have too terrible of water.
Yeah, then Andrew says, when you're done foaming the car, take the bottle off and stick it in your rinse bucket and shoot clean water through it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's good advice. If you're finding you're getting it beat up so much, you want to make sure you clean it out.
Okay. B Car Pics on Instagram says, hey Matt, how did the all-weather Nikes work out?
They're good. I mean, they're kind of ugly. They don't look very good. They're basically a Pegasus 36 or whatever they're at, 37, which is their running shoe with like a sock over top of it. So they're comfy. They don't look very cool, but they're comfy. And you can run in them as well. But yeah, I think it's a good option. I like them.
All right, Bill asked here in the chat, Bill Holden, how's the Raptor holding up? Any plans to upgrade to a 21?
Yeah, I called Justin Land from Weichert Ford or texted him and said, hey, I'd like to get one when it comes out, the 21 Raptor. I think it's time, in the next 6 months or so for, to replace Michelle's Raptor. And I need to talk to Jose about who's doing the E36 to see if he could just paint me a new door on that. Everybody's beating down my don't. I keep saying they're getting all these puns, but people keep beating down my door to buy the darn Raptor. I'll let you know when I'm ready to sell it. And of course, everybody wants it, but they want it cheap. Well, I'm not the guy you buy things from cheap, unless I make it cheap, dictate it. So anyway, yeah, I think going with a Raptor is what I think that vehicle makes the most sense for what we do as a family. It's great having that, and it's pretty bulletproof for the kids. And then she doesn't want a new one because she's going to mess it up. But in the grand scheme, shoot, if I can sell my Raptor for $35,000, and buy a new one for say $70,000, that's a pretty good deal. And get 7 or 8 years out of the new one. I don't know. I just had Rex detail it, so I don't have to.
All right. Well, along those lines, that's a good segue here to Rob Roquette on Instagram. Matt, how come you don't ever do a wash and talk with Michelle's truck, or do you make her wash her own truck?
I make Rex wash it. I pay him to do it. I just too many cars, and I don't want to wash it. And when she ran into a giant concrete pole, it makes me so frustrated.
All right, let's see. From Mike Mraz on Instagram, can you go more into the Auto Solutions shifter You've mentioned that is your go-to for BMWs. Trying to improve the feel and throw in mind, but was wondering what puts this above the competition in your eyes.
I don't know if Ronald, I think his name's Ronald, is doing it as much anymore. But he's just a guy in his little shop making custom stuff that you work with to spec out your shift, your linkage. I think I have. We're not sure, but I'm pretty sure I have an auto solution shifter in my E92. And if I could do it again, I would make it a little bit more aggressive than they had set it up. I think that it's just the most custom option available. But like on my E36, I did a UUC. I think it just depends. But yeah, you call them up and he talks your ear off for 45 minutes as you try to figure out what you want to do. And I've never actually installed one of them. But it's pretty much the standard if you want to try to improve the rubbery feel on a E92 or E36 or any BMW.
All right, we have a couple super chats coming up, but I want to get this one answered first. Hey, Matt, any update on the E46 hunt? You mentioned an Imola red one that you found.
Yeah, people get real mad about that. It's Imola.
Imola?
It's a city. Imola is a city in Italy.
Okay.
Now they're going to tell you it's Imola, but there's not two M's. So it would be Imola, right, if we were pronouncing it in Imola.
Imola.
Right. So if you're going to pronounce it properly, you would say Imola, like M-U-L-A. But whatever. I said it was Imola, and I say suck it. It's Imola. Anyway, I didn't get that. I bought a white one from EAG. You'll see it soon. So we should have it in a month or so. They've got to do a few more things to it, and then whatever they do, I'm going to end up redoing anyway. So it's kind of pointless. But I bought a 39,000 mile white with black interior. It does have a sunroof, but we're going to do a carbon roof anyway. And it's a pretty darn legit example.
All right, Obsessed Mobile Detailing, a $4.99 super chat here. Any thoughts on the Rinseless vacuum? Have you used one before?
No, but I suspect it's probably not great. I mean, I'm sure someone's making it for them. They're just just putting their name on it, I would guess. I mean, I think Festool is probably the way to go. We would have them, but they won't let us become a dealer. So I'm just waiting until times get a little tougher for some of these companies that are, that are turning everybody away. So we'll see.
All right. And any update on the DI system you mentioned a few months back?
That guy sold his company, and so we've kind of production halted. I'm waiting for Mike Figuera to get here, and then I'll send sick Mike on that, and we'll figure out our own system. So yeah, that's on the docket. We can make a lot of money doing that. So that's one of the things that I'm going to use to help pay for Mike's salary, is to chase a DI system that we can start selling.
All right, we have a super chat here from Kay Moriyama in the Philippines. So that's 125 Filipino pesos. I had to look that up. That's what that little thing is. So $25.75 American.
That's cool. Thanks.
Hello, Matt. Big fan from the Philippines. If you can shout out Kainam Garage, thank you so much. I guess that's his place he's got there.
So is that like a detail shop or something?
Sounds like it. We'll look it up there. So thank you, Kay Moriyama.
And the Philippines is one of those that would be like my fifth place. Of every time everybody asks you, where are you going to go? So Canada would be first, then the UK, or somewhere more central to Europe. That can service like Norway and Denmark and Germany and where people are, and then Australia. So Canada, UK, Australia, and then the Philippines. I think we need a place in the Philippines. I think it would slay.
We have a lot of customers in the Philippines. It's interesting.
For whatever reason, I appeal. People like me there, which is funny. Because they're very stoic people. They're not loud, and I tend to turn. Maybe it's because I tend to turn loud people off.
So I looked it up. I found a restaurant in the Philippines named that, Sizzling Garage. So maybe we'll eat there when we go to the Philippines. Maybe that's his place. Let's see. Alligator Window Tent, our friend Martin there. The OG quick disconnect on my foam cannon is starting to stick. Is there anything that can be done, or just buy a new one? Fully understand I'm early adopting and what comes with that.
Mine did that. You just have to add a little WD-40 to the bearings, and I find that gets it going again. it's anodized aluminum, and the parts are aluminum, so we're all guinea pig testing how this thing's gonna last. But yeah, as the anodization starts to kind of get beat up, I find it needs a little bit of lubrication.
All right, D. Ryan in the chat says, how are things with the Tesla? Any chance of that being a giveaway car?
I mean, I was planning on trading the Tesla in for the Model S. Yeah, maybe a giveaway may not be a bad idea.
So there you go, D. Ryan. You can be the first to enter if it happens.
Yeah, it's nice. I've been driving. I drove around several days this week. I got to get the adhesive off. I pulled the body kit off, and we got to get the Vossen wheels refinished so I can put those back on. But I got to get it aligned and get the radar detector in it. But yeah, it's good. I like that car. It's like when I want to just chill and not have a lot of sound. It's and the audio system's great in it. It's not bad.
All right, Ryan Franklin on Facebook says, question for Matt. What is the tool that you use to keep the hood propped open while you're polishing? I checked the store, but I didn't see anything in there. Thanks in advance.
Sorry, I wasn't listening again.
What are you doing over there?
I don't know.
What's the tool you use to keep the hood propped open while you're polishing?
Oh, it's a Kamikaze hood stop or hood prop. They have them at Esoteric. I think they still have them. But yeah, they're expensive, but it's a good tool to have.
All right, Alex wants to know from Facebook, Matt, what's your process for dialing in the black exterior window trim on the E92 M3? Mine looks slightly oxidized, and it's bugging me.
Yeah. You just have to polish it like normal, and it's really soft, so you can usually polish it with like Perfect Finish, yellow pad or white pad, and it usually cleans up pretty well. Sometimes you have to microfiber it if you have some deeper scratches, but yeah, you use Perfect Finish, and that'll clean it up pretty good.
All right, Michael in the chat says there are lots of expats in the Philippines. Interesting. I didn't know that. Not sure why they end up there, but good for them. Let's see. Nick on Instagram. Both my bottle and Decon soap are forming this white, thick substance at the bottom of them. Doesn't mix with the soap when I shake them. It just swirls it. Do you know what this is? If it's mold, I've had these for less than a year, and is it still safe to use it?
I'm sure it's fine to use it. I wouldn't think it was mold. I would think it would be on the top. It probably just heated up or froze. Is probably likely what it did. And I'd put it in like run it under a hot faucet for a while and try to shake it back up. I'm sure it's fine. If it still foams up, then I'm sure it's fine.
All right, let's see. Mason Stamps on Instagram says, when you're done washing your car, do you purge all the air out of the hose lines and then turn the machine off, or do you just let the water sit in the lines?
No, I run the machine dry, which takes like a second, and then let the water, and then I dump the rest of the water out of the lines.
All right, Scott Taylor on Instagram says, have you tried G-Technic G5 glass sealant? And if so, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it sucks. Don't do it.
Woofs is still the way to go.
Yeah.
Woofs.
Yep.
All right, let's see. OMG, it's something, Jake. If you weren't going to get GT3 Touring, which other model would you get? GT2 RS ever in the queue?
No. The GT2 RS sounds like crap, and I don't really have any interest for a turbo Porsche. So, I don't really need another one. My .2 RS is great. I don't think I'll get the 992 RS. I say that now, but we'll see. I think mine looks way better. I actually think the .1 looks the best. So I'm inclined to get a 997 after touring. I just want a touring. And I'd rather have a new touring than an old touring. And so that's why I'm getting the 992.
All right, let's see. A couple of questions about 911s here from Reasonable Paul first on Instagram. Hey, Matt, got two quick questions for you. One, I watched your 911 touring build. You've said before you didn't like the look of PPF. What's your thought process behind deciding which car gets PPF and which one doesn't?
It's dependent on which goes and does some hardcore driving in the mountains. If it's not going to the mountains, then it's not getting PPF. So I very likely would not PPF the touring. It depends. If I did like paint a sample, I'd probably do it just because of the cost of the paint, and I'd want it to be original because then that car may actually have some value someday. But even then, I'd probably be inclined to just roll, without any PPF on it. So it's really just the RS that goes to the mountains is the one that I put PPF on.
Okay, second question. What's the status on the NSX?
It's pretty much dead. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I went through the process, made all kinds of calls. Some of you connected me with some corporate, and I talked to the guy who's head of, an NSX marketing strategy, and told them what I wanted to do, and they didn't seem excited. They said, all right, let me see what the deal is, and then nothing. And then the two dealers, so my guess is behind the scenes, they all got together, the dealer and the people I'm talking to, and they said, no, we're not doing this, so just don't engage. Which is freaking stupid. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Oh my gosh.
All right, Tim M on Instagram, you actually answered his question talking about PPF, so don't have to do that one. But Hayden wants to know, for a first attempt at paint correction, what compound and pad combination would you suggest? Thanks for the OG spec product curation and awesome videos.
Yeah, definitely Jescar correction compound and a Meguiar's microfiber cutting pad, and then a Sonex Perfect Finish with a Rupes yellow pad. You can't go wrong. It'll probably be darn near perfect from doing those two. And then from there, you can start making adjustments, trying different pads and things like that. But if you're doing it the first time, just go with that. Do 4 passes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Four sets of passes, and you probably don't have to inspect it. It'll look fantastic.
We have some praise in the chat for the skin wedge tool. I picked up a skin wedge tool. This is David, our friend in Alabama, a few months ago. Recently got into a project where I was replacing clips and some other fasteners. This thing is legit. I found that I'm using it all the time. Thank you.
Yep. You need to just put like one in every drawer of every cabinet all over the place.
All right, and then Ben also says, yes, I've been meaning to praise the skin wedge tool as well. I have a full complement of plastic trim tools, and I'm using the skin wedge 95% of the time
same
now.
Here. Yep, I've got all those fancy little pry tools, and I almost always use a skin wedge. Even though it's metal, a lot of times you can manipulate, even if it's up against the paint. It's so exacting that you don't have to worry about messing stuff up with it. It's so good. I even use it like I'll put like a microfiber towel over it and use it to scrape out like the cracks and crevices from dirt and stuff like that, like expansion joints and between body panels and things like that. It's awesome. So good.
All right, Richard wants to know if you have, or what's your opinion on putting the big foamers from Marilex or IK in your wheel bucket to foam wheels.
You can. I just think the foam cannon is way better at it and way more efficient. But if you didn't have another foam cannon, or you were doing it with a garden hose or something, yeah, definitely. But I tried that. That was the plan. I was like, well, I'll use that. But the other thing I'll probably do is I'll probably take the hand sprayer out of the bucket, put one of the Marilex, like the 1000, in the bucket, so that way I can hit the tires one last time on, undiluted, not with a foamer, but with a sprayer.
All right, Epiphany Detailing says, love my Hex membership. Any videos in the queue?
I'll certainly be doing a vlog here shortly. I didn't do one this week because we did a bunch of videos over the last couple of weeks. I felt like I'd take a week off, and plus I made the house tour video on the main channel. But yeah, I've got a lot of stuff queued up that I want to shoot for that. Mainly vlogs, but I'm sure I've got some business stuff too to talk about.
All right. Jonathan wants to know if you've seen or heard or used the Rag Company's new wash mitt yet.
No.
Right.
If it was great, Jeff would be calling me, so it must be pretty similar.
The Cyclone? Is that what he was talking about?
Maybe they did a new version of it. I don't like the Cyclone.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what he's talking about or not.
All those ones that are 100% microfiber get too heavy. That's what's so great about the Microfiber Madness, is that it's actually very little microfiber. It's primarily wool, or I forget what they call it.
All right, let's see. Someone here suggested, I'll give him credit here in a second. If you've ever had some On Cloud shoes, they look like something that might be up your alley. Oh, Rick on Instagram.
Interesting. I like how they look from the top.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if you would think those are moon shoes or not.
Yeah, show me a little less douchey color than that.
Let's see. We go black.
I don't know. Those look eerily similar to Skechers.
A little.
They look kind of cool.
Let's see. You got some navy. Ooh, it's blue.
Yeah. I don't like that side view, but they look better with that on the dude's foot down there. You know?
Yeah. All right, so there you go. Now you might have to buy 10 pairs of On shoes. All right, let's see. Scott RW on Instagram says, "Hey, Matt, after your Turo experience in Georgia, do you have any plans to diversify and put up one of your cars?"
No. No. Yeah, I don't.
Now, let's see. Jeremy Hudson wants to know, any plans for a day in the life video on the YouTube channel anytime soon?
Probably not. I like doing it on the Inside the Hex. Just gets me in more trouble than it's worth most of the time to put it public. So it's $8. You can go sign up for a month, and $8 you can watch freaking 50 of them in there. Don't tell me you don't have $8. Oh man, I don't understand. I don't have $8. Come on.
All right, here you go. This is the new one he told us. Ultra
wash pad.
Wash pad. Wash mitt. So I don't know.
Yeah.
New proprietary microfiber blend that allows for easy release of contaminants in the wash bucket.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll have Levi send me one.
All right, so there you go. Thanks, Jonathan. David J. Yep, we gave a Destination OG update a little earlier. No real updates there. Waiting to get an appraisal. Michael wants to know, when you get your Evo grill up and running, you got any collaborations with Sam the cooking guy coming up?
That'd be sick. I think Sam's a little too big for me now, you know. So he's at like 3 million subscribers or something like that now. Yeah. So I'd love that. That'd be awesome. If my house was a little baby white trash house, then maybe. If I had some big fancy house, I could probably convince them to come there. But yeah, I don't know. I doubt it.
All right, let's see. Michael Putoff on Facebook. First time aftermarket wheel buyer here. Really like the look of the Vossen HF5s. Any advice for the first time wheel buyer? Can they reuse my TPMS?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't reuse tires or TPMS. I'd leave your other ones alone. And this is where, if you can't swing it, I say don't do it. Because everybody does. They do takeoff, so they take off their tires. And if you can't swing it, chances are going to damage one of your tires. I mean, there's a high probability, say 10-15% probability that one of your takeoff tires has a problem, and then you got to buy a new tire anyway. And then if your tires aren't all equal, you got to buy 4 new tires. So I would suggest that you buy 4 new tires, 4 new TPMS. That way you can just bolt them right on. And I would also suggest taking your wheels not on the car, take them to the place, off, and then what you're best served doing is check with them first about buying your tires and TPMS from them. It's kind of a jerk move to show up with wheels, tires, TPMS, and then they're charging you $30 to mount and balance them. That's just not really fair. So I always try to call and say, hey, I'd like to buy the tires from you first, knowing that, and don't get into the, you match tire rack and get all cheap on them. If you're going to get into the aftermarket, in order to get things done right, you've got to pay. You got to palm hundos. You've got to honor. You got to buy the stuff. Buy as much from the companies as you can. They know that you're not going to buy the wheels from them. Discount Tire has some wheels, but they don't have the ones you want. So that's usually not a problem. And then you also have to remind them, and you're going to have to swallow your lump in your throat here. They're not really responsible. You have to beg them, hey, can I meet the guy first? Because I want to give him $100 cash. And then you say, look, man, I understand things can happen, but can I bribe you to take care of these? Like, I'm insane. Can I bribe you to take care of these wheels for me? And you don't frickin' hold them to it. Don't be one of those frickin' jerks, entitled little pricks that you're too broke to buy the wheels and tires that you bought. And so now you become this entitled little prick where everybody owes you something. And you show up there and they give you a little nick on your wheel because things happen. And so the way to mitigate that is don't have them take them off and put them on your car. Do that yourself. And palm hundos. A single hundo will do it. And you tell the guy, in the front, say, hey, can I have your best guy? And before we do it, I want to palm him a hundo. And he'll say, what? You say, I want to give him $100 cash. Look, I got it right here. I want to give it to him ahead of time, so that way hopefully he'll take care of me. And it's worked pretty much every time for me. But sometimes they mess up. And you better be ready for that. So that's my advice.
All right, Car Salon Detailing says, I think I've seen a video come from you guys where someone is foaming a car without using a foam cannon. It's kind of a black coupling on the spray gun. Is the product sucked in by the high pressure?
Yeah, I mean you have to have the Venturi adapter that goes on the outlet of your pressure washer. That then when you put that tip on the end of your gun, it opens up the orifice, which then reduces pressure, which creates a suction or a Venturi effect, and then injects the soap into the line. And then it has like a little filter on the end of it that causes the soap to foam. And so it's complicated because it was a rifling through soap. Like you could see the cash register rolling. And so we have to figure out, dilutions, type of soap, all that kind of thing. I don't know that GSF is the right soap for that, unless we can dilute it. And then, of course, you can't really dilute soap with tap water and let it sit long term. So you got to make sure you have really high quality, deionized water in order to dilute it, or distilled water for it to stay diluted properly. So these are just things that we have to work out. But it's really not going to be viable for like a regular system. It'll be more functional if you have like a real wash bay with an extra boom pole and an extra hose that you would use for foaming dedicated. Which is, you're better off just buying a $100 foam cannon, unless you just want that convenience of like we're building, we build these $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, accessorized garages, and just $300,000 in just accessories. In that garage, we want a soap tank, and we want to be able to, have a way to do that.
All right, and we are getting some of those in at some point. If that was the next question. We have ordered them. It's going to be
they're
a while.
Cheap. It's What are they, like $80 or $110 or something like that? They're not super expensive.
All right, Bryce Holland here in the chat. I have a Greenworks pressure washer package with gun hose, but now want an AR Blue Clean. Would all the fittings work on the AR?
Yeah, everything except for the nozzle. It will bolt because the AR is 14 millimeter, and the Greenworks are 14 millimeter too. So everything will bolt right up. You just need to get the proper size orifice on the end of the tips, and you're good to go.
Yeah, so Bryce, email support at Obsessed Garage, and they'll get you set up with exactly what you need there.
Yep.
Colin says, speaking of tires, does Matt have a favorite tire brand overall?
Yeah, Michelin. Michelin is like all I buy. And Monday, my mounting and my Hunter Engineering mounter and balancer will be here. It's going to be freaking amazing. I think we're going to provide the world with some cool content, and I think we're going to sell lots of those machines to like guys in their garages. It's a lot of money though, so it's not going to be everybody.
Where's that going? Next door?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's see here. Brandon Ibarra says, I have a set of Method NV305s that have water spots on them pretty bad.
Yeah.
They don't come off with a normal wash. Any tips on getting the hard water spots off?
Yeah, you're probably screwed. The water spot remover is probably not going to do jack for that. And if you use a wheel acid on those wheels, it's probably going to jack up the finish, because the finish on the Methods isn't great. You might have to polish, but if you polish, you're going to mess up the finish on it, so you're pretty much screwed. So there's not much you can do unless you're willing to roll the dice on ruining the finish. So try McGuire's wheel brightener, which is a wheel acid. You dilute it like 4-to-1, something like that. And if that doesn't work, then you're going to have to get a Rupes Nano and start polishing. And even that may not work, and then you may need to heat them while you're polishing them. And while you're doing that, you're probably going to roll through the paint that's on them.
All right, let's see. We have a couple guys here in the chat, Mig, Cal, and Lewis, who else said they use a mobile tire service done from my driveway.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are always replacing tires on high-end cars. I'm done with local tire shops.
Yeah, that's
There you
cool.
go. If you got that in your area, check that out.
Or you just buy a machine for the one or two times a year you want to do it yourself. Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. So pumped. Next up, the next big conquest would be an alignment rack. Someday.
Obsessed Mobile Detailing says, any OG spec canopy that you recommend? Looking for a good one to get some shade when out detailing in the sun.
Yeah, I don't know. There's that one pop-up thing that the company makes that's a big pop-up tent, but that thing weighs like 700 pounds. You know, not so easy to just pop up whenever you want. That's the blow-up tent.
And then Bryce said, thank you. This is the Greenworks AR guy. Not going to lie, the Greenworks is some dookie. But it was $100. So,
yeah.
Understood, Bryce. Let's see. Show TRM on Instagram says, do you have any Sonic carts in stock? Looking to buy one, but the only shipping option appears to be about $400, effectively doubling the price. Any alternative? Or do I just bite the bullet and spend the $800? Thanks for the great service.
I don't think it costs that much, does it? Did you get a quote from us? I mean,
Probably,
generally entry-level freight quotes are started at like $3-something.
It depends on where you're shipping to, if you need lift gate or residential.
It probably has to go freight. It's like even wholesale, like cheapest freight, like minimum freight is like $360 or something like that. And that's like to a Florida address from Florida. So if it's shipping to California or something like that, they come from Auburn. I don't think I think the thing's still too heavy to ship in a box in UPS. So I think that's why it's cost so much to ship. So I don't think there's really much you can do.
Yeah. I don't think we have any here anyway.
Yeah, we don't.
All right, let's see. This is from Eric. This is a good question. I think you'll enjoy this one. This is a little bit long here. But I'll give you the first part. What would Matt's strategy be behind a part-time detailing business? How would you execute detailing if you had a 9-to-5 office job? So that's the overall picture. Then he says, I'll elaborate. Maybe this is a better question for inside the hex, but I have a pretty good office job that provides for me and my wife, affords our house and everything we want, but I'm not happy. For some reason, detailing cars and running my own little side business makes me happier. Crazy, I know. How would you execute a part-time business? I'm mainly focused on mobile detailing, as I only have a single garage, not big enough to park customer cars. I have weekend shop access to perform coatings, and looking at expanding to ceramic coatings beyond cars and to boats, RVs as well. Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those things where you have to remember that you can make up whatever you want. And so, you know, this happens all the time with like guys here. I'll say, you know, like, let's do this or that, and they'll do this or that. Well, what about the things that I didn't suggest? What about all the other potential options? And that's partly my fault because I'm the one always answering. I always have the answers, right? And so when you're talking about the first thing I'm hearing that's jumping out at me when we're talking about, well, I have to do it mobile. I can't do it at my garage. But I do like that he threw in there. But you know, I do have a place that it's probably somebody he buddied up with or a friend of his that he could use a shop. And so if you get creative in the beginning, especially, you can get creative and have other options where you're not having to go out and sweat your butt off. I think one of the requisites would be I'd want to find somewhere that I can do the stuff without having to do it sweating, especially if it's your other job. You'll do a lot more of it if you can do it in an air conditioning somewhere. So you're going to figure out how to do that. And, if you're a 9-to-5, office type job, you're probably inclined to be a rule follower. So I'm going to ask you to break some rules here and ask some questions, make some requests, and go around and try to figure out, suspend the this or that. It's either this or it's that. It's either I buy a $300,000 garage and put air conditioning in it, or I'm not doing it. There's probably something in between that you could figure out, you can create, you can make up. You can partner with somebody who really likes to see other people's cars or something, and you can figure out something like that, where they have an air conditioned space you can use, or figure something out with that. Get creative, and And then I would build a really awesome website, and I would spend a lot of time, doing that and telling my story and how I'm doing it. And I would want to share, what I'm doing there, take some pictures and stuff like that. So I would start getting into cameras, both still and video cameras, so you can take and document your work. I would make sure that I was really into, playing around on Facebook and all those other things, so that I'm able to share what it is I'm doing. And then your marketing will take care of itself. But remember that to marketing is going to be the biggest part of the deal, and that you're going to have to put in just as much effort there as you're putting into everything else, into doing the car. I'd say you're nuts to try to do that detailing, but that's just me. You're going to end up hating it. Maybe not. I mean, maybe that's what you end up doing. And I don't know. I just have a hard time comprehending how you could do that much work for, $1,000 or whatever, $1,500, or in a lot of cases, $300 that people are doing it for. I know $300 is a lot if you're making, $25,000 or something like that, or $1,000 is a lot if you're making $50,000. If you do that, a couple of times a month, it's an extra couple $1,000. That's another $25,000 a year. But man, that's hard work. Really, really hard work when you're putting in, hard work at your job too. And if you're not putting in hard work at your job, you got to find a different frickin' job. Do you feel like some days you do a lot of stuff in a day? If you don't, it sucks. And if you're looking to fill that void with a second job, I would first try to figure out how to. I would want to improve both. I would want to have both the side hustle and a great job that I liked going to. And despite the fact that I now see that I wouldn't want to be in wealth management now, I still liked it. I thought it was great. And I was always looking to improve inside of that career as well. So I'd urge you to chase both. And my guess is you'll find out that detailing is not the thing, man. I know there's a lot of detailers listening here, but man, you guys, I don't know how you do it.
All right, so there you go. That was Eric on Instagram. One last question from Facebook here from Chris. How easy is it to remove Optimum glass coat that's been on for a year? My vehicle was getting service and the tech scratched both fenders and my hood, so I'm going to take it off and apply CSL Exo.
It should come off with a compound. I haven't taken that off in a long time. But it should come off pretty easily, I think. And now, supposedly the titanium carbide or whatever that is, their base compound cross links with the paint, so I don't know that it comes off as easily. But yeah, you'll want to just compound at least. The hard part is you don't really know if it's off or not.
Let's see, our friend Jeff out in Oregon, Nike Jeff. Greetings from hotter than the sun, Oregon. He's working on dialing in the new Model Y performance and skipping a front lip per Maddie's experience. Probably good. I was about to make fun of him for saying how hot it was, then I looked it up. They actually have an excessive heat warning today in Oregon.
It's going to be 80 degrees.
Yeah, look, this is weird though. At 8 p.m. it's going to be 90 degrees. That's pretty hot for 8 p.m.
Yeah, but there's no humidity.
Yeah,
there's no chance of
hot,
rain.
but yeah.
That's nothing, Jeff. Man up.
41% humidity.
He has all that cool heat gear, cool gear stuff. I think that's an Under Armour term, but he has all that, all that fancy breathable fabrics, and
there you go.
Yeah,
you're set.
You got to do some wind sprints in a garbage bag, and yeah.
The high there will be 93 today. So
yeah, I get it. When you're not
hot, yeah.
Right, when you're not used to that kind of heat, it'll shock you. Me, Waba, and Bryce were walking down in St. Cloud. We're walking from the from not Chick-fil-A, Chipotle to the car. I'm like, man, if you weren't conditioned to this, it's a special kind of heat. You'd walk out and be scared for your life. You're like, are you suffocating? But we weren't even. I wasn't even sweating. I wasn't even batting an eye. But you have the distance from the door to 10 car spaces before you start sweating crazy. Oh yeah, historic heat wave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all those tree huggers up there are going to be losing their crap about climate change. The world's going to end. Oh my gosh. Lock it down. Everybody, put your masks on. Make sure you put your masks on. Yeah, do it. Do. That's what I want to see. I want to see all those West Coasties putting their mask on in that heat.
Look at this.
Where's that, Phoenix?
No, this is Oregon still.
Oh, shoot.
He says it's going to be 110 plus this weekend. On Sunday, 113 is the high.
Oh, my God. Okay, now you're talking. Now that's
Move to Florida if you want cooler weather then. Come on down.
Dear Lord.
Only 99 here.
Oh, yeah. All those tree huggers up there are going to be losing their crap, saying the world is ending.
And lots of people up there don't have AC, according to some of the people in the chat. So. Sorry about that, Jody, or other people who.
I was going to say, if they're 90 degrees, come on. I mean, that sucks, but yeah, that's get your AC.
Oh. Okay, good stuff. Let's see. Jason wants to know, are you still using the dry ice cleaning machine and finding uses for it? Well, they took it away from you, didn't they?
Yeah. So I got to get dry ice delivered. So we're getting that set up. We're going to have a weekly delivery of dry ice or something like that.
There you go.
Sweet.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for all the questions, your time today, for supporting us as always.
Yeah. Thanks. We'll see you next week. I think we'll be here next week. Are you going to be here next week?
No, I'll be here Friday.
Oh my gosh.
I'll set you up.
We're going to be on vacation.
And your parents are taking the day off on Friday too. How great is that? They're actually taking the day off.
What are all these people doing?
This place, it'll never survive.
What kind of culture am I breeding here? People taking days off? This is nonsense.
Good stuff.
All right, people. See you soon. Oh, look at that. I'm not